Jesus, the great master teacher, right, talking about the kingdom of heaven and trying to get us to understand, right, the kingdom of heaven, how God works. He shares a story about a son. It's not just about a son, it's about two sons. It's not just about two sons, it's about a father. And we call it the prodigal son, but really it's the prodigal father. And so I want you to think about this. And really there's two prodigal sons in the story, not just a prodigal father. Many of us are familiar with this story. What the story goes in Luke chapter 15, that a father, right, had two sons, and the one son, the youngest son, asked his father to give him his share of the estate before the father dies. And so the son is basically saying, Dad, I wish you were dead. I'm out of here. The father gives him graciously his part of the estate. The older son lives with his father, it seems, in harmony, while the younger son is out squandering all of his wealth, living wildly, living against his father's will. And then all of a sudden the youngest son has nothing. And then Jesus says he comes to his senses and wants to go back to his father's house, and somehow, some way, knows that his father's full of grace. His father's going to welcome him back, but he just wants to be a servant. He just wants to work with the pigs because the pigs have a better life than him at this point. And so Jesus, as he shares the story, as the son's going to go back and confess and repent to his father and just asking him to give him the crumbs of life, right? The father sees him and is full of compassion, and he runs to his son. He undignifies himself. He lifts up his robe, and men didn't do that back then, and he runs. He runs to his son. He embraces him. He weeps with him. He gives him a signet ring. He gives him a robe, and he gives him a feast and says, my son was dead, and now he is alive again. What a beautiful picture of the love that God has for you and for me. Right? Compassion. A God who runs to us, right, and throws this ridiculous party when we don't deserve it. That's what he does for us. Right? And then there's another son in the story. And the son pulls his father away and says, what in the world is going on here, Father? I don't understand this. And the son says, I've worked for you. I've done all this stuff, and this son's done all of this, and this is what you do. And then the father says, I've loved you all this time, as if the other son didn't realize, right, the love that his father, the grace and the mercy that his father had. Right? And certainly in this story, we can pick it apart and we can see the tax collector and the Pharisee. The Pharisee doesn't have the humble heart, doesn't live in the grace of God, where the tax collector knows he has sin. Right? Or we can focus on the Father. That's what I want you to do today. Focus on the Father. Focus on our Father in heaven, and just see how much he loves you. That he rejoices over you, that he's always looking out for you, that he's throwing a party for you. And one day, right, there will be a moment where he does run to us and embrace us when we take our last breath here and our first breath in heaven. Right? You are his son, you are his daughter in baptism. That is our truth. Heaven is opened up, not just for Jesus, but for us. And we're not Jesus, so don't get me wrong there. Right? But heaven is opened up, and it proclaims over you and me. Be confident. Know who your Father is. Who is your daddy? Right? And what kind of heart does he have? What kind of character does he have? I want to encourage you, live in the gospel, live in the grace that your Father has for you today, and seek to give this. Right? Don't be like the older brother. Right? Give grace to the world today. Give grace to your neighbor.